Alright, I'm back with Elden Ring. I am currently in the city of Lanedale, the capital city of the lands between. And we're going to be exploring the city pretty thoroughly because at some point during the game, this city will be destroyed. So, might as well make the most of the time we have here. And here I am directly underneath the fossilized remains of the dragon Grandsax. Before I proceed any further, let me see if I can take out this Earth Tree avatar for some extra runes. Nice. How many will this give me? Oh, 50,000 runes. Nice. That's actually enough for a level right there. Let me level up. I think I can use a little bit more endurance. So this dragon here is Grandsax. Now at one point he attacked Lanedale, and as you can see, was stopped by a giant spear. It's unclear who exactly defeated Grandsax, but my theory is that Godwin had a lot to do with it. Because after that, he earned the respect of dragons, including Fortisax. In this area, these archers and stuff can really be annoying. So what I like to do is, instead of messing with them, I just like to come down here. Well, not down here, but... Well, while I'm here, I might as well get this guy. I can get a golden seed from this ulcerated tree spirit. This thing. These things can be kind of tough to fight. Especially because sometimes it's hard to really see what they're doing since they're so huge. Good news is they are weak to fire, and I am doing fire damage here. When you see them wind up their tail like that, that means they're about to spin, so just be prepared to roll through it. Nice. After I clear out the enemies, I'll take a better look at this place. Alright, is that all of them for now? Okay, so this area we can probably call Lower Langdale, just because it's below the main city we're in. I need to actually get a better view so I can really show what I'm talking about here. But basically, when approaching Langdale, we couldn't go through the main entrance. The main entrance was just sealed off, and it wasn't hardly guarded at all. And as we can see on the map, there's a lot missing. It looks like there should be more of the city here, but there's not. It's almost like once I get a better view, it'll appear that part of the city just sunk into the ground and water filled its place. And interestingly, if we look at the underground map, it's directly above the nameless eternal city. And some of the architecture, such as these silver plates in place of the windows, is very reminiscent of what we'll find in the eternal city underground. Where's that lever? Here it is. Okay, I can go back to Avenue Balcony. So instead of dealing with the archer, I just come down here. These are first generation Albinorics that look like they've been kept prisoner somewhere. Let me deal with them. There. But basically the architecture of Lower Langdale, the way these buildings look, they're very reminiscent of what's known as the dead cities of Syria. And as I was explaining in an earlier stream, some of the carvings we find underground suggest that tree worship was brought into the lands between from outside source by people coming on boats. And if we take this, so the whole lands between the Golden Order, the cities of the Eternal Cities are reminiscent of cities from the Roman Empire, such as Constantinople, Athens, and Alexandria. And if we take that analogy further and look at these as sort of the dead cities of Syria in the Levant, the place where tree worship began as a minority religion before eventually taking over the empire, we can start to see parallels of the Middle East under Roman occupation in real history. And interestingly enough, during Roman occupation of Judea, there was a sect called the Sicarii, who were a group of assassins who would assassinate people for political motives, oftentimes in broad daylight, specifically to make a spectacle. And they would use curved knives as their assassination weapon. And with just a few modifications, those curved knives kind of resemble the black knives used by the Black Knife assassins in this game. I will avoid this guy. And there's a jump scare here. And this gargoyle, I'm not going to mess with. I'm just going to run here and grab a golden seed. Because this thing's tough. Like, that's what I mean. Yeah. And unfortunately, gargoyles are immune to all status effects. So the fact that my sword does blood loss is useless here. And I'm about to go to a location in this city that may be very surprising. Fortunately, these things can't really hear, so I can just run past it. But I'm gonna, come up this tree route. And might as well get my torch out because there's gonna be dogs down here. But this is what's called, this castle right here is called the Fortified Manor. It also uses Norman architecture pretty similar to Stormvale Castle. But wait till we see what's inside. It's going to be one of those moments where you think, I've been here before, because you have many, many times. This sanctified wet blade will let us apply lightning or sacred affinity to a weapon. But notice this area where it looks like there was a bunch of weapons. Yep, this is the real world round table hold. So the round table hold that we go to doesn't exist in the same world space. It's almost like its own pocket dimension that's based on this place, the Fortified Manor. And this isn't the first time that From Software has done this. In Bloodborne, they did the same thing. The Hunter's Workshop is your hub area, and then later on, if you're exploring the game, you can find the real-world location that it's, when I say real-world, I mean in-game world, that is based on. And here there's no two fingers. We see the throne in the small council setting, which is in contrast to the round table. So round table sort of represents equality. Like there's no head at the table, everyone's equal. But behind closed doors, we see hierarchy. That's for the Dung Eater quest line. These seabed curses, there's 6 of them in the game, but you only need 5 of them because some of them are missable. The guy who invades you in Round Table Hold, this is him, Alberich. And later on, if you're doing the Volcano Manor quest lines, there'll be an optional invasion you can do here. Coming this way because there's a seal I want to grab that is also missable. It's worth exploring Lanedale very thoroughly, because at a certain point the city is going to burn to the ground and a lot of the stuff you just won't be able to get. And one of these doors, this one over here, if I take it, I can go back up to the Divine Bridge. But I don't need to do that. And I don't think I can do stealth here. Maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, Archer already saw me. Oh. This guy is who drops the Gravelstone seal. This is helpful if you're using Dragon Cult incantations, which include things like Lightning Spear. Basically, anything that deals with lightning is probably a Dragon Cult incantation, and it gets powered up by this. And I'm at Grand Sax's feet right now. Alright, got what I came for. Now it's time to fight a boss. We're gonna fight an illusion of Godfrey. So, projection is a big thing. Illusory projections are a big thing in this game. So, Margit, when you first fight him, is a projection of Morgott. You're not fighting the real thing. Well, here we're about to fight a projection of Godfrey. And he is immune to bleed, which is what my weapon is good for. But I picked up this Electrify Armament spell because he is weak to electricity. And yeah, I'm literally climbing up a dragon wing. Oh wait, I already did that. I can go here. I forgot about that. There we go. And at a certain point, I'll go to that Coliseum, but there's some stuff I need to take care of first. These are called Tree Guardians. You'll often see them near Earth Tree Avatar bosses. Yeah, we're really close to the Erd Tree now. Don't want to aggro all of them at once, so let's see. Because I still do have to fight a boss up ahead. Okay, not bad. Alright, this is the boss room. So, let me buff up. Alright. And yeah, his stomps can do damage, just if you're in the vicinity. Oh, okay, wasn't expecting a jump there. In theory, the real Godfrey is supposed to be tougher, but I find the real Godfrey's moves to be a little bit easier to read, just because, probably because he's not all ghostly like this one is. Okay. And this is where we get the 4th talisman pouch. And that's the final talisman pouch. What should I equip here? I can use some... Oh yeah, I can use some dexterity. I'll do that. Gave me quite a bit of runes, too. I'll pump up my endurance. In fact, what I could do is I've been wearing this armor for too long, and I have this crucible armor, which is good for holy resistance. Let me see if I can wear crucible armor now. I can, and still get medium load. So you want to pay attention to equip load. If your equip load's between 30 and 70% of your maximum equip load, you're medium load. Below 30%, your light load. Over 70%, your heavy load. And your load determines how well you can roll. So it's very hard to get light roll. So at least you want to at least have medium equip load. I believe these basins were once used to collect sap from the Erd tree that were used in rituals. All right. Time to come up here. And let's go fight a boss. Another one. But first, this assassin. Notice its knife. It's got that curved knife. You're gonna see another one just like it very soon that is kind of suspicious. This is Marika's bedchamber. And note all these stone tablets here. There's gonna be one other place in the game that we see all these stone tablets, and that's gonna be in the DLC. This is almost like an early hint that Marika is connected to this other location that we'll see much later on. And from the size of Marika's bed, you can sort of guess at just how huge Marika is. But here's the Erd tree. And for this fight, let's use this summon sign to summon Melina. Now, Melina's fighting style is interesting. Her fighting style is basically identical to the Black Knife assassins that we just saw. And she also fights with a curved sword, imbued with destined death. But in addition to using Black Knife assassin fighting style, she also uses a healing incantation that takes the form of a small tree, and the only other place we see this healing incantation is we learn it ourselves in Marika's home village. So this is sort of like another early hint that Melina is associated with Marika. But let's see, I have my Margit Shackle. Okay, so I'll do this. Flame grant me strength. Blood flame blade. All these power-ups probably aren't strictly necessary, but I like to have an advantage.
Graceless, tarnished.
How many times do you have to teach this guy a lesson?
What is thy business with these thrones? Godric the Golden. The twin prodigies, Mikola and Melania. General Radahn. Praetor Rykard. Luna Princess Rani. Willful traitors, all. Thy kind are all of a piece. Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition. Have it writ upon thy meager grave. Felled thy king Morgoth, last of all kings.
Oh, he's about to explode.
Shall not be forgiven.
So, the last thing Morgoth said is felt by Morgoth, last of all kings. During the Shattering War, Langdale was left without a ruler, so he took over the throne, but he kept his identity hidden, ruling as the Veiled Monarch. And the reason for that is because you notice all the horns on his face. He's called an omen, which means he was born with that curse. Omens are basically people who are born cursed with horns growing out of them. And they're treated as second-class citizens. A lot of them are killed, but because he was born of noble birth, he was instead exiled underground. And he escaped his confinement from below the city. And interestingly, Morgoth has a twin brother who's also an omen. His name is Moog, but they had different reactions to their curse. Morgoth internalized the hatred that people had towards him, and he hated himself. Um, Whereas Moog came to take pride in his cursed blood. Let's see, last paragraph here. Though born of the graceless omen, Morgoth took it upon himself to become the Erd Tree's protector. He loved not in return, for he was never loved, but nevertheless love it he did. So yeah, the Golden Order discriminated against Morgoth, but he was still a
Hello
defender
again,
of the Golden Order.
old friend. Allow me a moment to converse with you. You were unable to enter the Erd Tree, no? Prevented by the mantle of barbs. The thorns are impenetrable, a husk of the Erd Tree's being that spurns all that exists without. The only way to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord is to pass the thorns. My purpose serves to aid in that very act, so I'd like you to undertake a new journey with me to the Flame of Ruin, far above the clouds, upon the snowy mountain tops of the giants. Then I can set the Erd Tree aflame and guide you down the path to becoming Elden Lord. Shall I turn you? Let my hand share them with me.
Okay, what can I level
Your
up now?
thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
Nice. Okay, now there's a few more things we can do on the surface level of Langdell, and then it's time to explore the underground. First is getting up there. So if I come out here and take a left, I can come through here. Golden Order Principia. So this is a spell book that you can use to learn incantations. And Principia is a Latin word. And it's interesting that they use that because that's also part of the title of a work by Isaac Newton. And there's basically two fundamental laws that are contained within this in Elden Ring. Law of causality and law of regression, which are sort of fundamental tenets of Golden Order theology. And law of regression sort of parallels with inertia, and law of causality, sort of parallels with the law of, for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. There doesn't appear to be a corollary to the second law, at least that I've found so far. But with this book, we can learn a spell that'll actually help us with the Gold Mask questline. And I didn't mean to come here. I actually meant to come to see Turtle Pope. I give all the spell books to Turtle Pope because he's a permanent fixture, so we don't have to worry about him disappearing.
Oh, what very well. Heresy, all things. Oh, very well. Heresy is all things.
Alright. Law of regression. I'm gonna get that. I'll get this too. Okay. And so now I can go back to Erdtree Sanctuary. I have to cast the Law of Regression to advance Gold Mask questline. But there's a problem. And I have an interesting way of overcoming the problem. So the problem is that it requires 37 intelligence to cast. And my intelligence currently is at 9. So I have to get it up from 9 to at least 37. And there's ways I can do that. So first I'm going to change my Wondrous Physic to replace Dexterity with Intelligence. That'll give me a boost of 10 Intelligence for 3 minutes. I'm going to replace this hat with the Twin Sage Glintstone Crown. That'll boost it by 6. Going to equip Stargazer Heirloom. That'll give me +5. Let me equip Godric's Rune. This is why I made sure early on to unlock Godric's Great Rune. And let me get the Grafted Blade Greatsword. It's saying I need 40 strength to use it. This Ash of War will increase all my stats by 5. It says I need 40 strength. I have, let's see, currently 29. But if you two-hand it, you get like a bonus of 50%. Plus my Strength Knot Crystal tier will give me enough to use the Greatsword, which means I can use the Greatsword's Ash of War to increase all my stats, including intelligence. So it's a complicated thing of buffs I'm doing to get from 9 to 37, but I'll get there. And I'll send this elevator back up, and just in case I forgot something. And I did forget something. I forgot to equip the spell. And by the way, when actually, for combat, especially, Law of Regression is really good for fighting other people, like in multiplayer, because not only does it heal your elements, but also, if your opponent is buffing up, you can basically undo all their buffs. Okay, now that I have the spell actually memorized, I can use it. And yeah, based on this, how the sword looks, you can definitely tell that George R. Martin was involved in this game. So if you're naturally a wizard character, you won't have to worry about meeting the intelligence requirement. You'll probably already have 37 intelligence. But for this, so the Turtle Pope told us that, his name's Muriel, but I call him Turtle Pope because of his hat. He told us that when the sculptor was sculpting the statue of Radagon, he glimpsed Radagon's hidden secret, and he embedded that secret in the statue of Radagon. And here this message says, regression alone reveals secrets, hinting that we need to use Law of Regression here. So let me see if I can remember all these buffs here. So first I'm going to use a, hopefully I don't forget a step. I'm going to use a Rune Arc to activate my Great Rune. So already I see intelligence up to 25 now. 35. This should be 40. And then I can cast this. And the statue of Radagon changed to a statue of Marika. And this now says Radagon is Marika. So that's the secret. Radagon and Marika are the same person. these are called perfumers, and the way they're dressed is very reminiscent of perfumers from the Byzantine Empire, which acted as doctors. And these guys fulfill somewhat of a similar role here. This whole city is based on Constantinople. Alright, I don't need to kill this Crucible Knight, but it'll make things a little bit easier. Alright, come on. Alright. There. Little trick to getting those invisible scarabs. Roger's rapier, because it has this glint blade phalanx Ash of War. These things auto-target enemies, and it'll count this invisible scarab as an enemy. So where is it? It should be coming down the stairs any moment now. Well, is it coming? Well, that didn't work. Usually it works, especially if you're in like a confined space. There. Barrier of gold. Don't actually need that, just wanted to show how you can, an easy way to get those invisible scarabs. And this is something you definitely don't want to miss. Again, Lanedale will burn down at some point in the game, and this item will be gone forever. This is one of the legendary weapons, which you need for a trophy. This is the Bolt of Gransax. So definitely always make sure in a playthrough that you grab this. A great ancient dragon Gransax once rained calamity upon the royal capital, the only time in historical record that Lanedale's walls have fallen. This marked the dawn of the war against the ancient dragons. So, before entering Lanedale, we fought what's called the Draconic Tree Sentinel, which is a little bit tougher than a regular Tree Sentinel. And with them, once Gransax attacked Lanedale and breached his walls, it sort of impressed upon the people of Lanedale how much of a threat the dragons could be. And so some of the Tree Sentinels thought that the only way to defend themselves against the dragons is if they became more like dragons themselves. So they start using dragon parts as ways to like craft their armor, and that's how we got the Draconic Tree Sentinels. And now that we got that confirmation that Radagon is Marika, I can progress the Gold Mask questline. Don't need these spells anymore. Oh, and I should probably change my Flask of Wondrous Physic back. Yeah. Now I'm going to head up to the Colosseum, because that's where Gold Mask is. He should be there anyway. Let's make sure. Finger Reader Crone. Okay, I think so. Actually, I could have just gone under these branches. I mean, these roots. This So the Colosseums, there's 3 Colosseums in Elden Ring. These are really for multiplayer stuff. If you're just doing single player, you don't really have to do anything with them. And there's also a really good weapon here that I want to grab as well.
Whatever is the matter, please, I implore you, continue. Continue your reflections, your rhythms.
Star Fist. It's a punching weapon with spikes, and it's really good. Especially for the Moog fight.
The heart of the Golden Order lies before our very eyes. Why? Oh, was that you? Sorry, I hardly noticed. I'm a little shaken since the Master ceased his movements. The Master's reflections had heightened as we neared the Erd Tree, while still a precise calculus. The rhythms grew increasingly wild until he simply ceased. Now the Master is facing quite the puzzle. The Golden Order is founded on the principle that Marika is the one true god. However, the name of Marika's second husband, King Consort Radagon, also appeared. Who exactly was Radagon? The Master is stumped. His finger has remained still ever since Radagon's name was discovered. Curse my mediocre mind. The Master only has me. And here I fail him. What on earth did you do to the Master? Well, not that I'm complaining. Master's finger moves again, resuming his cogitation. More than good enough for me. I haven't the words to thank you. So I'd like to pass this on to you instead. A glimpse into the heart of the Golden Order. Documented by yours truly.
He says that and then doesn't actually give us anything. All it does is unlock more incantations that we still have to buy from him.
To think that Radagon was Marika herself. Or at least, such is all I can interpret.
So what
from the
I've
rhythm
been
and
able to
calculus of his
gather from
How would
just
such a thing even
other
be
evidence in the
possible,
game
I wonder?
is that
Frankly, I cannot
I
comprehend
don't
it
believe
myself.
Radagon and Marika
Do
are
you
always the
have
same
a full
person.
understanding of the matter?
I believe Radagon was once a separate person from Marika,
Either way,
and
I
then
can
they
continue
merged.
my documentation. In
And
truth, it matters
because
very little
Radagon and
what
Marika are the
Master's
same
thoughts
person,
are. I am merely his
that's
scribe.
likely why
It is my soul
their children were
unwavering
born
purpose.
cursed, Mikola and Melania. Let me make sure I have a particular key. Yeah. Now it's time to go underground. So back here, and this time I'm gonna jump down the well. It's easy to overlook the well, but there's so much stuff in the game that's hidden down here. There's an entrance to Deep-Root Depths. This is how you complete 2 quest lines in the game. And also, one of the game's main endings is unlocked down here. Basically, down here is one of the most important locations in the game, and it's all under this very nondescript well in a part of Langdale that you might just run past. From Software is really, they have a habit of doing that, of hiding really important stuff like huge areas just completely out of sight and hidden in ways that you really have to go actively looking for things. Like in the original Dark Souls, they had the whole area of Ash Lake hidden behind hidden underneath the Great Hollow, which was hidden behind 2 illusory walls in Blighttown. It was a lot to get there. And so it's possible in a lot of these cases to play through the entire game and not know that some of these areas even exist. I'm gonna go free Dung Eater, which not a good decision because you'll see he's kind of psychotic, but I'm trying to complete all the quest lines here. And yeah, don't get ambushed by these hands. Well, I'm gonna try to lure some of them down. There's a big one underground. And by the way, these hands are weak to fire. They get stunned by if you do any sort of fire damage to them. Come on. Okay, now one of them comes down. Alright. And like I said, it's weak to fire, so I want to use Blood Flame Blade because these things are dangerous. But if you catch it on fire, it rolls around like that. And this does not seem like the type of person you want to free from their jail cell. But since I'm completing all the quests, I'm gonna do it.
You must eat more. Defile more. Who are you? I've been here long enough. I will kill again. And defile each corpse with care. Just to be sure that when they're reborn, they'll be cursed. Along with their children. And their children's children.
Fia gave us a mending rune to fix the Elden Ring. Completing his questline will also give us his mending rune, which will fix the Elden Ring in a different way and ensure that everyone who's born from now on will be born cursed like the Omen are. In a way, he's kind of basically sticking up for Omen rights. So he sees the way that Omen are discriminated against, and his solution is to basically force everyone to be born as an Omen. These are Omens, by the way. Kind of like Morgott. And the reason why Omens are hated so much, so in the base game, it's sort of explained that Omens are remnants of the Crucible. The Crucible is an era before the Erd Tree when all life was sort of conjoined and there wasn't as much differentiation between species. So Omens could have aspects of other things like animals, like lions, dragons, things like that. And it's explained that that's why Omen are looked down upon. But in the DLC, we'll find out there's actually another reason for that. That makes a lot more sense. But either way, Omens are not treated well in this land. This whole area can be easy to get lost in. I was jumping over those pitfalls earlier, those holes in the ground. At a later point, I will want to purposely fall in one of them, but for now, I'm jumping over them. And I like to lure this guy away because if I kill him too close to the ladder, it'll lure more of him down here. All right, come on. Take the bait. These guys are tough. Yeah. It's best to fight him in here. So, when Omen are born, their horns are excised, like they're cut off, and this usually results in them dying. There's a few above ground that have their horns cut off, and they're not dead, but for the most part, it kills them. But if they're born of noble birth, then instead of having their horns cut off, they're instead exiled underground. I can unlock this shortcut here. And I know I can grab a smithing stone here, so I'm just gonna do that. And run away from these guys. Drop down here. This place it's very easy to get lost and not know where to go next. And just when you think you found the end of this place, there's a hidden path that goes even further. We're going deep, deep underground. And it makes you think, okay, the Omen were banished here underground, but if we're going somewhere even deeper underground, then what do they want to seal away that deeply? Because there's something that the Golden Order fears even more than the Omen that's way deeper underground. Don't let this black bar fill up. These basilisks, they don't do damage to you directly. They just emit the black cloud of smoke, and if it makes this bar fill up, you instantly die. Don't need to fight this guy. Oh, and by the way, when I said Lanedale would burn down at a later point, that doesn't actually affect this underground area. It burns down everything on the surface level, but the underground remains unaffected. Alright, unlocked a pretty good shortcut. I'm just gonna heal and then go back. That's what I recommend in this when traversing this area is look for any opportunity you can to unlock a shortcut in case you die and have to go back. And this is an area where it's very helpful to have a ranged attack for these guys right here. I don't really have any ranged options, but what I can do is I can equip these kukri as throwing knives, and I just want to dislodge them. There. Yeah, these guys can hang from ceilings, hang off the pipes. They're very good at ambushing. Kukri can also get their attention, so they come to you instead of you going to them. Oh, this guy just fell. Works for me. These imps, by the way, can quickly build up blood loss. So if you're susceptible to bleed, these guys are pretty dangerous. Okay. Don't want to take chances, so I'll heal. And this guy's gonna ambush me. Like that. Another shortcut. Well, kind of a shortcut. And it's easy to get lost in this next section, so I just follow the rat. There's gonna be a rat here that I can... There, it's running away off in the distance. And yeah, it comes down here. There. And then that's where it ends. But it saves me two turns, and then instead of jumping over this pipe, I'm gonna purposely fall down it. And the reason I know where to go is just because I've gotten lost in this place many times. So, oh, okay, this guy wants to follow me. Alright, getting closer. Okay. I want to take these guys out because otherwise they can cause problems for you on this elevator. And if you think we're done going down deeper underground, we're not. But for now, it's time to fight another projection boss. So just as Morgott is able to project himself as Margit, his twin brother Moog is also able to project himself. And it's time to fight one of Moog's projections. And for help, we can summon Dung Eater, now that he's been freed. If you free him, but then progress his quest further, he won't be available anymore. So you can only summon him right after you free him. Alright. And despite... Oh, I forgot to grab an item that makes this Moog fight much easier. Because Margit has a shackle, Moog also has a shackle that pins him down. But I'll do it without it. We'll see. Yeah, these talons explode, and if he throws his blood at you, it also does lots of damage. So, Omen blood is cursed, and Moog actually uses that as his weapon. His cursed blood as a weapon. Yes, stepping into fire is really bad. His blood literally catches on fire. And the real Moog is much, much tougher. Now, it looks like this is a dead end, but Melena's gonna kind of give it away. Talk to Melina.
If you intend to claim the frenzied flame, I ask that you cease. It is not to be meddled with. It is chaos, devouring life and thought unending. However ruined, this world has become. However mired in torment and despair, life endures. Births continue. There is beauty in that, is there not? If you would become Lord, do not deny this notion. Please, leave the frenzied flame alone.
On my first playthrough, I wouldn't have thought there would be anything here if not for the fact that Melina gives that warning. That she's afraid I'm going to find the frenzied flame. This is actually a good talisman. But if you notice, if you look up at the windows here, and you look inside the windows, you can see that there's actually a space behind here. There's something behind these windows. And if we hit this, it reveals a hidden path. And now's where things start to get creepy. So all those merchants that we find, like Kale at the Church of LA, and all the merchants that sell stuff, they're part of a nomadic tribe, and due to their blasphemy, the Golden Order uses the two fingers, right? They follow the guidance of the two fingers. These guys follow the guidance of the three fingers, and this is actually based on a real schism in the Russian Orthodox Church between a sect that made the sign of the cross using two fingers and another sect that made it using three fingers. So, but it's reversed. So in this game, the three fingers are the ones that were persecuted, whereas in real life, in the Russian Orthodox Church, it's the two-finger people who were driven out and became nomads due to persecution. But yeah, all these guys were trapped underground. And some of them are still alive. Like this guy. And unfortunately, they're hostile. Like that. And the flames he just shot out of his eyes, that's a madness incantation. That yellow bar, that's madness buildup. The frenzied flame is associated with madness. These things right here can be destroyed using their madness attacks. So you sort of have to bait them out. Like that. This was just a useless crafting item. But that's how you do it. And now we're getting to one of the most frustrating parts of the game, which is platforming. I really don't like this part. It's so easy to... Because Elden Ring's controls and just the game mechanics are not made for precise platforming. Oh, that was close. Oh no, didn't mean to jump backwards. All right. Oh, okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Yeah. Close calls. All right. I think I can roll. Okay, then hopefully one more roll. Inescapable Frenzy. Yeah, so interestingly, madness incantations, if you use them against other tarnished, they'll cause madness buildup in your opponent, but they also cause madness buildup in yourself. So it's kind of like no one escapes the madness. In fact, you know, the foreign policy of U.S. and Soviet Union when it came to nuclear proliferation was mutually assured destruction, which was abbreviated MAD. I'm gonna aggro this guy on purpose. Because he can destroy this. And that shield I just grabbed, the fingerprint shield, it's a really heavy shield that requires a lot of strength to use, but it can be really good. Now if I drop down here, in fact I'll read it real quick. Basically, so the two fingers communicates through basically finger movements, almost like Braille, and the finger readers read the movements of their fingers to interpret messages from the greater will. The three fingers don't use movements, they burn fingerprints into things. So they can burn fingerprints into people and also objects like this shield. So yeah, so this was an imprint from the three fingers. And I was doing Hyeta's questline, and she's down here. The three fingers is through here, and they unlock a ending of the game. And in this ending, if you become the Lord of Frenzied Flame, the ending is basically the world gets destroyed. So this is the worst ending of the game. And talk to Melina.
I ask you one more time.
Notice how afraid she is.
Seek not the frenzied flame. As one who strives to become a lord, deny not the lives, the new births of this world. Those who would are not fit to be called lord, when the land they preside over is lifeless. Please, put a stop to this madness. The Lord of Frenzied Flame is no lord at all, when the land they preside over is lifeless.
And we also got this note from Mikla, which will become relevant here. The Empyrean Mikla crafted a needle to resist the influence of outer gods. Those who have inherited the flame of frenzy, yet wish not to become its lord, would do well to seek Mikla's needle. So if you inherit the frenzied flame by going through this door, it'll lock you into the frenzied flame ending. It'll prevent you from choosing the other endings. The only way to undo that and gain those other endings back as options is to use Mikla's needle. And the way to get Mikla's needle is to do Millicent's questline. And that actually involves having to fight and defeat Melania. So if you want to undo the Frenzy Flame ending, you have to beat Melania, the hardest boss in the game. So you definitely want to think carefully before doing this, assuming you don't want the ending. However, there will be a certain point in the game where Melina has to sacrifice herself. If you want to prevent her from sacrificing herself, you can take on the Frenzied Flame, and Melina won't die. Instead, she'll hate you and threaten to kill you, but she won't die. So one thing you could do is you can get the Frenzied Flame. Melina will say that if you become the Lord of Frenzied Flame, she'll track you down and kill you, and then she'll abandon you in Torrent and be like, alright, I'm done with you, and leave. And then, after you do the part that would normally result in Melina being sacrificed, you can then use Mikla's needle to undo the Frenzied Flame and get back your other options. Normally that's what I do in a playthrough. I'll normally get the Frenzied Flame and then undo it after I defeat Melania. In this playthrough though, because it is a story exposition, I'm not going to do that. I will eventually get the Frenzied Flame and undo it, as I usually do, but I'm not going to prevent Melina from sacrificing herself. Because it is an important part of the story. So I'm going to let that happen. But basically, by making the choice I'm making, the only sort of dialogue you're missing out on is Melina threatening to kill you if you become the Lord of Frenzy Flame. And as we saw in the fight with Morgott, the way she fights as a Black Knife assassin, she can follow through on that threat. Hyetta here, we can finish her questline after getting the Flame of Frenzy. So not yet. I'm going to wait till later, and then I'm going to come back and finish Hyetta's questline. But there's one other secret down here. As deep as we are, this wall that looks different, if we roll into that, there's this chest, which is just a rune arc. But if we roll into the wall behind it, this is another entrance to Deeproot Depths. So yeah, if we keep going down, that down there is where I first entered Deeproot Depths from. But that's how extremely deep underground we are. We're literally at the roots of the Erd Tree, slash Great Tree. But yeah, I'm not gonna do the Frenzy Flame right now. Instead, let's go to the mountaintops of the giants. Oh, I actually have a lot of runes. Let me level up before I get killed. Yeah, I guess 1 point in strength. East. And we can meet a friendly dog for once. Notice how there's a lot of ash here. Just ash on the ground, and even in Lanedale there was ash on some of the streets. And the buildings were sealed with a yellow wax. Some of the buildings in Lanedale had yellow wax around the seam, like the door seams and windows. Almost like they're wanting to prevent stuff like ash from floating in. The Erd Tree was likely burned before. So Bach asked us if we saw the Erd Tree. He acted surprised at the Erd Tree when he got here. He didn't mention the Erd Tree before when we were in Limgrave, but he mentioned it here, acting surprised to see it, and then asked us if we could see it. That's kind of a weird question to ask if everyone can see a gigantic tree, which makes me think that maybe not everyone can see it. And for Golden Seeds, it says, you know, they're found at the base of an illusory tree, which is those small yellow trees you find these at. They're illusory. It makes me wonder if most of the Erd Tree is illusory, except for this little sliver. I think that the Erd Tree has been burned before, and a little sliver of it is all that's left, and then what we see here is an illusion of what it once was. Because, you know, when Morgott creates weapons from thin air, they're the same color as this. And the projection of Godfrey that we fought was also the same color. And we're about to be on the way to burn down the Earth Tree a second time, and all of Langdale with it. So that's the friendly dog, but this thing is not friendly. Unfortunately, I won't let you pet the dog, but see, he's friendly. Now here we have the Misbegotten near a perfumer. And like I said, the perfumers are based on their counterparts in the Byzantine Empire, which acted as doctors. It's almost like they're treating those who are born like this. Come on, land, please. You can't stay up there forever. And that little bubble he had around them for protection, that was being cast by one of these perfumers. They can make shields. Oh, okay. I thought I heard footsteps. Guess I was being followed. This is also a type of Misbegotten called a Leonin Misbegotten. And, of course, the name Misbegotten literally means born wrong. And if it seems like, you know, creatures like the Misbegotten, the Albinoryx, the Omen, a bunch of other, as you can tell, a bunch of different types of people are heavily discriminated against and persecuted in the lands between. There is a safe haven for them here. It's far to the northeast. And it's actually a hidden place that you can play through the entire game without finding it. But it's Miquella's Halictree. So Miquella, he's called, you know, we have Godric the Grafted, Godwin the Golden, all these, like, titles, Melania the Severed, stuff like that. Miquella is called Miquella the Kind because he created a safe haven for people like the Misbegotten and stuff, and Albinoryx and all of them to have a place where they won't be persecuted. But unfortunately, as we'll find out much later in the DLC, Miquella isn't the good guy that he seems. He's one of those people that have good intentions, but do a lot of bad stuff for their good intentions. Okay. Here's a newbie trap. So there's this elevator here. This is a divine tower where you unlock the great runes of both Morgott and Moog. This guy with a torch, as you approach him, it'll turn into a surprise boss battle. That can be not too bad, but we came a long way from the last Side of Grace, so it's best to get a Side of Grace before taking it down. And there's also a hidden passage here. It's like south to southwest. So I need to look for something in the wall. Okay, I think I see it. And jump. Official's attire. Grubby blue robe worn by magisterial officials to carry out their grim task. Surveillance, executions, gruesome rituals. The darkest duties drive the wheels of mankind. So this guy looks like he's guarding a room, like where a prisoner might be kept. Blade of Calling. Dagger given to one who set out on a journey to fulfill her duty long ago. The power of its former owner, the Kindling Maiden, is still apparent. The one who walks alongside Flame shall one day meet the road of destined death. Yeah, this is referring to Melina. She's the one who walks alongside Flame, and as we saw in the fight with Morgott, that's her weapon right there. And you can probably guess why she's called the Kindling Maiden. Because remember, when we first met Melina, and she lifted her hood back, we could see her hands had burn marks on them. So at one point, she was set on fire. I should probably push Vigor a little bit more. So, lots of stats have soft caps to them. Soft cap is the point at which further investment won't really do you much good. And for Vigor, the soft cap is 60. There's one at 40, but then the last soft cap is at 60. So for late game bosses, it's recommended that you push Vigor to 60 and then just stop there. Because otherwise it's usually just wasted points. Okay, this is not... It's hard to see in this area. But here's a giant skull we can jump inside. I don't need to, though. Okay. I was just messing around with that. And I don't bother fighting these guys, just run past them. And if you come here at night, there actually is a Knight's Cavalry boss you can fight here. I really don't want to do that, especially in this terrain. And you can also summon Millicent to help you fight a gargoyle here. But I'm just going to run past the gargoyle. Because I don't want to deal with that. Golden Seed. There's a lot of these scarabs here. And interestingly, if I look at... Well... It seems that some of the scarabs almost have like an eye symbol on their back. Kind of makes me think of Gideon. Okay, Blackblade, Kindred. I don't want to deal with this. I'm just gonna run away. These things are crazy strong. Ah, finger reader.
You. Please. I can read them. Your fingers. Please, your fingers. Turn back. Ahead lies the land of the giant's flame. And the way forth is forbidden. Hear me. The burning of the earth tree is the first cardinal sin. Doing so will unbind destined death and slay the world itself. Who would dare put you up to such a task? Most certainly not the fingers.
Oh well. So, this lift has a secret. If you hoist the roll-up medallion, it'll take you up to the mountaintops of the giants. Once you have the complete Halleck Tree medallion, though, you'll see an option to switch action, and you can hoist a secret medallion, and it'll take you to a secret path to the Halleck Tree. And interestingly, there's some etymology notes here. Earth tree, as I mentioned before, sounds like earth tree, like world tree, which, should make you think of Yggdrasil from Norse mythology. But Halleck sounds like the German word for holy. And that's sort of what Mikla is associated with. So there's world tree, but then Mikla's tree is the holy tree. And yeah, it's weird. There's ghost animals up here. And ghost trees as well. I kind of think, so interestingly, these trees look like, I'm not a tree expert, but they look like conifer type trees. Whereas some of the newer trees, like you see in Altus Plateau, are deciduous trees. And the Erd tree itself is a deciduous tree. Specifically, it looks like a beech tree. And so it kind of makes me think that there was widespread destruction at one point that burned down a lot of the existing trees, and it eventually became replaced with new types of trees, including the Erd tree. This was Yura. And we found, last we met Yura, we found him dead. But remember, when we found Irina dead, we then found Hyetta, who looked identical to Irina. This is the same situation, and like Hyetta, this is also associated with the Frenzied Flame. This is no longer Yura. He looks like Yura, but he's not Yura anymore.
Finally, we meet the Tarnished, who would be Lord. Oh my. Why the long face? I fear that you were previously acquainted with this vessel. Well, that is most unfortunate. For he is dead. As for his flesh, he gave it to me. Shabriri, I hope you can make your peace with that.
As I mentioned in a previous stream, Shabriri is actually the name for a Hebrew demon associated with blindness. And interestingly, when people go mad, it affects their eyes. And Hyetta, in fact, is blind.
You were about to sacrifice something precious, the life of a fair maiden, that you would toss into the fiery forge, only so that you may be Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder. Your ascendancy requires her sacrifice, whether she wishes it or not. But how would the
But
Lord
she does wish it, that's the thing.
crown so be looked upon? chosen tarnished and would-be lord, dare to tread the path of true rigor, spare the poor girl, and singe your own flesh in her stead. If you are prepared to show resolve and attain lordship through righteous hardship, then heed the words of I, Shabriri.
So basically, Melina needs to be used as kindling in order to burn the Erd Tree down. However, he's saying that we can also, if we inherit the frenzied flame, we can use that to burn the Erd Tree instead.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be lord, descend into the depths far below the Erd Tree capital. Seek audience with the three fingers and the flame of frenzy. If you inherit the flame of frenzy, your flesh will serve as kindling, and the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship.
And also destroying the world.
Of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erd Tree.
Yeah, if someone's called the Lord of Chaos, they probably don't have good intentions.
All that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may chaos take the world. May chaos take the world.
And if we inherit the Flame of Frenzy, he'll actually help us with one of the later boss battles. He helps us fight Godfrey later on, and he does that because Godfrey is standing between us and the Elden Ring, and he wants to make sure he helps us become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. And he's talking about tearing down all that divides and distinguishes. That's sort of their goal, which is they consider the source of all problems to be division and separation amongst beings. It sounds kind of like the plot of Neon Genesis Evangelion. If you've ever seen that show, it sounds like the goal of Sele, the Human Instrumentality Project, which is to reduce all of life back to what's called LCL, so that it's all combined into one being. That's what adherents of the Three Fingers want to do, is combine all life back into the Great One. So everything is one with one another. But since now people exist as separate individuals, they see that as the problem and the source of all like oppression and suffering in the world. It has a very Buddhist theme to it, but taken in a very twisted direction.
There is something I'd like to say. My purpose was given to me by my mother, but now I act of my own volition. I have set my heart upon the world that I would have, regardless of my mother's designs. I won't allow anyone to speak ill of that, not even you.
So, the ending I plan to choose is Ronnie's ending, and Ronnie is all about freedom of choice and respecting other people's rights to determine their own destiny, because she was born in a system that controlled her destiny, and all of her actions were to reclaim her own power over her own destiny. So in keeping with that, Ronnie's ending, it only makes sense to also allow Melina to choose her own fate, even if it results in her death. Oh, and this whole area down here, you access this by obtaining the secret medallion to the Haley Tree. So this whole area down there is the path to the Haley Tree. And yeah, it should be just past those cliffs. But for now, I can actually obtain a bell bearing. Ideally without fighting anything. Well, I don't want to fight these guys, so I'll just come up. And just to show on the map, oops, a bird. I avoid that. see me. Smithing. So now we can buy more smithing stones from the Twin Maiden Husk. Unfortunately, from here, there's one other smithing stone bell bearing we can grab here on the surface, and unfortunately, after that, the rest of them will be in Farum Azula. In fact, one of them will actually require us defeating a pretty difficult boss fight. Notice all these twisted stakes, like these twisted trees here. They're used to impale giants. And later in the DLC, we'll have to fight a character called Mesmer the Impaler, whose spear sort of resembles these twisted trees. Kind of making me think Mesmer has something to do with this. But basically, these are fire monks. So the fire monks, their job is to contain the great flame hidden on the mountaintops of the giants. The giant's flame is capable of burning down the Erd Tree, which is why the fire monks are to guard against it. And since the giant's flame belongs to the giants, Marika basically had Godfrey commit genocide against the giants. So Godfrey led the forces of the Golden Order and killed all the giants except one of them. And unfortunately, we have to finish the job and take out the last fire giant in order to get where we need to go. And here's Millicent. When in doubt, if you're trying to track down where someone is going, who you're following a quest line for, they usually appear by sites of grace. Millicent in particular always appears by a site of grace.
What could your purpose possibly? No. I know well enough who you are.
And that's the prosthetic arm we gave her.
What I know is good enough for me. Call upon me again in battle, should you have the need.
Before I proceed, I need to make sure I have Latenna. Yeah, okay, I already picked up Latenna, because she should be saying something soon. Because Latenna wanted me to bring her up to the mountaintops of the giants and to find basically her people. Let's see, do I have, how many golden, I have 13 flask. I actually don't have my flask maxed out yet. But then again, I haven't gone around specifically seeking out all the golden seeds either. Because you can have a maximum of 14 flasks, and you can upgrade them to plus 12. There's actually a dragon that appears here. And it's a tough dragon, so I'm not gonna fight it. But yeah, it's, I mean, actually I probably could fight it, but I just don't want to. Your reward for beating it is a dragon communion incantation, and my build is not really good for that. But yeah, all this fog here, not a good sign. I can't see. He uses his fog to obscure himself, so you can't see him. This just looks like an ordinary item on an ordinary corpse. It's the bell bearing. You're gonna want to grab that. And of course, definitely the sacred tear. Let's see, does Melina have dialogue? She usually does at churches.
Spoken echoes of Queen Marika linger here as well. Shall I share them with you? In Marika's own words, hark, brave warriors. Hark, my Lord Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount. Let a new epoch begin. An epoch glistening with life. Brandish the Elden ring for the age of the Erd tree. We're almost there. The flame of ruin lies just ahead. I'm glad it was you I traveled with. I must tender my thanks to Torrent, too. Thank you, Torrent. Please continue to lend your aid. Till the end.
Now would probably be a good time for me to equip this for maximum fire resistance. Lord Contender's Everjail. This is where Vike is imprisoned. We saw a projection of him before, who was inflicted with madness. That one's the real thing. Vike is the person on the cover of Elden Ring. The knight who's kneeling with a sword in the ground. That's not the main character. That's Vike, who at one point was also trying to become Elden Lord, and he gathered 2 great runes and was going to when he learned that he had to sacrifice his maiden in order to burn down the Erd tree, he couldn't do it. He decided not to. And then he sought the Frenzied Flame instead. He went the path of taking on the Frenzied Flame. Oh, okay. There's another way into this. You can't get to it through here, but there's a different route. But he took on the Frenzied Flame and was going to burn down the Erd tree that way. But then he did all that to save the life of his maiden. But then he finds that someone murdered his maiden. So at that point, he just sort of gave up and succumbed to the madness. So the beast repellent torch normally keeps these dogs away, But if they have red eyes, it doesn't work. And here we have giants who have been impaled. This is part of Godfrey's genocide. As you'll find out, America has ordered a lot of genocides before, especially when we come to the DLC. And of course, you know, the temptation is to think, okay, well, someone who does all these bad things, you know, what's wrong with them? Why are they so evil? America is more complicated than that, especially as you'll find out in the DLC. She's done a lot of bad things, but she's had good intentions as well. And once you get into her story and the origin and what happened to her people and all that, none of it really excuses what she did, the stuff that she's done, but it puts it into context. Stuff will start making sense that it'll just make more sense. And now it's time to get invaded by one of Mohg's cronies. He uses Rivers of Blood, which is a very effective bleed weapon. It's been nerfed a lot, but as you can tell, it's still really effective. Ah, come on, stop. Yeah. He jumped over me? Really? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And now I got Rivers of Blood. The more he sharpened his mind, the more the absurdities of the world came into stark relief. And so Okina renounced it all and rose to a higher place. There was only himself, his katana, and his mastery. Before long, Okina became a demon of a swordsman. Weapon of Okina, from the land of reeds, a cursed weapon that has felled countless men. When Mohg, the Lord of Blood, first felt Okina's sword and madness upon his flesh, he had a proposal. To offer Okina the life of a demon whose thirst would never go unstated. Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. And there's another golden steed up here. Get. Oh, nice. Alright, I think this might give me enough to max out my flask. Alright, flask maxed out. Now, let's attempt to... Well, I'm not gonna fight the... I have to do something before I fight the fire giant, actually. I need to talk to Alexander. I don't think I've done that yet. Technically, I could probably avoid this fight altogether and just run and talk to him real quickly, but I don't want to do that. Because the point is to actually be able to hear what Alexander is saying. I've gotten hit yet this fight. Well, hopefully I don't... Okay, spoke too soon. That one hit me. And that one. Okay, hopefully, you know, this doesn't become a thing. There. Now I can talk to Alexander in peace.
think you're here to temper yourself with flame, considering that fleshly form of yours. Your timing, though, is impeccable as ever. I've been making just the thing for you on my journey here. Take it. I'm sure it'll suit you to a T. It's hardly more than lukewarm here. I won't be able to temper my body such that it'll never crack again. Perhaps I'll head eastward. There's an old saying I've caught wind of. Above the lofty clouds, the icy giant's peak doth soar. Here lieth the flame of ruin, which ever burning roars. Perhaps I'll head above the lofty.
So now I'm just gonna head over to the fire giant area. You can summon Alexander for this fight, but it increases. Well, I don't know actually, I don't know if it increases the fire giant's health since you summon him after the fog wall. I'm actually not sure about. Maybe not, but it does prevent you from riding Torrent if you summon Alexander. And Torrent is actually very useful to have. I probably want to, well, go with stamina, because the Radagon Sword Skill is good for my stats, but it does increase my damage, and I don't need that right now. Not when I'm fighting this guy. This is one of the most stressful fights in the game, in my view. What did I... Okay, but I'm doing okay. So the fire giants were genocided, but he was left here to guard over the flame of ruin. And the fire giants have a god called the Fell God, and he seems to be offering up his leg as a sacrifice to the Fell God. That might not be what's happening, but this looks like someone offering up a sacrifice. And that symbol there, that eye with the dots on it, that seems to be associated with the Fell God. Now this is where things get a little bit tough. Yeah, I'm just gonna rely on bleed here. His weak point is his hands. You do a lot more damage to his hands than his feet, but yeah, a lot of his attacks just do so much damage that I'm gonna play it safe, and even if I'm not doing a lot of damage, my weapon still does bleed, you know? the goal here is to make him bleed. Oh no. What? I somehow did not get crushed. I hate this ball so much. Come on, bleed already. Finally. Still have more to go, but this helps. Ah, just had like one more hit on him. Yes. Okay. That went pretty well, actually. Very well. All right. Any Melina dialogue here? Nope. I could have sworn there was some dialogue that I missed here, though. I know I talked to her, but I think she had more to say. Nope. Well. So I'm not gonna quite light the flame just yet. There's more stuff to be done here. First, let me go back to the round table hold. And you know what? Let me talk to Inya.
Well, you managed to return. You know what this means. The Earth Tree has spurned you. The fingers remain still, shaken by this turn of events. They are busy consulting the greater will. When they are finished, the fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me, but you. How will you ever manage to wait? My, oh my. Heavens forbid. That is not the domain of mere men. The burning of the Earth Tree is the first cardinal sin. And you say you seek the power
This
of
is,
the rune of
which
death
is
too.
first cardinal
The
sin.
rune of death goes
Does
by
she
two
mean
names. The other
that
is destined
it's first in
death.
order of importance or
Forbidden
severity?
shadow plucked
Or does
from
she
the
mean it was the
golden
first
order
cardinal
of
sin
its
committed?
creation?
Implying that's been done before.
Unleashing the rune now would be unthinkable. The fingers would never permit it. Nor would the greater will. But here we are. The fingers dormant, severing our link to the greater will. The realm and all life in ruins. Impossible events transpire beyond the ken of the fingers. Who is to say that the cardinal sin must be cardinal forever? Go on. Finish the job. Take the course you deem most worthy.
not the sort of thing you'd expect to hear from her.
Oh, go let the work.
Alright, let's talk to Dung Eater. So we can get a seatback curse up ahead, but only if you've helped Raya get her necklace back from Blackguard, and you've bought. I believe you also have to probably buy something from Blackguard, some prawn, so that he trusts you, and then he'll move here to Altus Plateau. I don't know what the logical connection between buying prawn from him in Liurnia and having him move up here to Altus Plateau is, but it seems to work out that way. Oh, okay, did not mean to do that. And I know there's a giant crab in the water that can get in the way, so it's best to take him out early. But he's not showing up. Get down here. See, this is where Glint Blade Phalanx will be very helpful. I have no idea why they would put such an annoying enemy in game. No crab, okay.
What are you looking at? Oh, you again, is it? Perfect bloody timing, actually. I got crab, cooked up fresh. Mate, there's something I should probably tell you. You heard of the Dung Eater? He's a madman. Has it out for everyone. Curses them. Goes round in his rank armor and all. You see him though. Stay, well, away. I was in the same jail as him once, so I know firsthand. He's a god-forsaken monster. Not just some petty thug like me. He's a killer. Kills people. And curses the souls. Does all sorts of shit to the corpses. To keep them cursed forever. I ain't seen nothing more disgusting in all my years. I ain't never been more scared neither. Rooted to the bloody spot while he did that to my friend. Yeah. And now I seen it here again. Never thought I would. What he does to those bodies. It was him. No question. That monster. He's lurking round. Marek. Never met you've got a real thing here, eh? And it's only getting better.
He says ominously. So now to reload the area, I'm gonna quit out and enter back in. before he gets in the way. Okay, so I guess this has to happen before the crap shows up.
Fitting bloody end. For a jumped up little shit with big ideas. Help me out. Would you, mate? I don't want to get cursed. Just let me die. I don't want to live like this. Not anymore. So, please.
Too late.
So that's where the soul... A fitting little... Let him stay there. But if what I've heard...
Information you should...
And it is a...
You are the truth.
My blessing, despite the curse stirring within you. No one has succeeded in that before. How? I thought. Then it hit me that you are, in fact, me. And I am the Dog Eater. It is my flesh that must receive the blessing. Give me your blessing. Defile my flesh with the seedbed curse, again and again, until it is done, until a cursed ring coalesces and may one day defile order itself. Countless I have killed, and countless I have defiled, and soon the fruits will be born. Hundreds will be reborn cursed, and they'll bear thousands of cursed children, who bear tens of thousands more. A few of those will be born just like me. And they'll kill the rotten fools. My fate was the grandest, most brilliant of them all.
Okay.
My corporeal flesh lies in the sewer jail beneath the capital. Give it your blessing. Defile my flesh until a curse ring coalesces.
Alright. Don't have enough seedbed curses to actually do that right now, but I do need to go back underground. Because I actually do need to get Moog Shackle, and I'm going to do the Langdale Catacombs as well. Because there's a good item I can get there. this is annoying. Okay, made it. Nice. There's two paths, an upper path and a lower path. Lower path is to complete the dungeon. Upper path is a shortcut back, not to the catacombs itself, but up here in the subterranean shutting grounds. There's no point in unlocking it. Literally no point. Like, if I already have the Side of Grace, why do I need a shortcut back to the Lanedale catacombs, you know? This is what I came here for, Moog's Shackle. In fact, I can replace it with Morgoth's Shackle. Lobsters. One of the worst enemies in the game. Alright, this is like a boss in itself. That's what I wanted, that Somber Smithing Stone 7. They're so hard to find, so it's best to just grab them. These shackles can activate these fire traps. Yeah, nice try. This thing can really mess you up with its poison. So this leads up here, and this will be important later. Not this specific room, the one that looks very similar to it. Oh, I thought it was facing away from me. I thought it had its back turned. Alright. Don't actually need to do this, but okay. Wow, that did very little damage, actually. Haha, but that didn't. can use stealth on this. So if you go up here, it looks like we're back where we started, right? Like we dropped down and these were all the guys were exploding. If we come up here, it's actually different. It wants you to think that you went in a big circle, but you didn't. It's a trick. There's dogs in here in addition to the main boss, so I'm gonna have my beast repellent torch out. Esker, Priest of Blood, just got bled out. And I wanted to get this specific talisman just because it does help with the fight against Moog. Alright, so I got some pretty good items for the Moog fight. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that fight this stream. Let me progress Volcano Manor a little bit more. See, this has both conifer and deciduous trees, but the conifers look older. Oh, past it actually. summon sign should be... There we go. I hate how they're running at me as soon as I spawn in. Don't really have much time to buff. Looks like I didn't need much help. Oh, okay, I can level up. There's an interesting weapon I can get over here. Wow. Okay. Really dodging me. There, that's what I want. That weapon. Ant Spur Rapier. So this has Scarlet Rot build up. You can also apply other affinities to it, like for example, Blood Affinity, to do both Blood Loss and Scarlet Rot. So this is a pretty helpful weapon to have. Let's work on some. Before I end this stream, let me do a dungeon. Let's see. Where? I'm trying to remember how to get to. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think I jump off and then there's that Gelmir Hero's Grave. I could probably do the French folk Hero's Grave too. Had to check. meant to fall here. I don't think this was the intended route. There's another one where there's a you drop in from a room up above with a bloodhound knight. That drop didn't look lined up to me, so I didn't take it. Alright, hopefully I get this jump right. There's a lot more to explore here. I just didn't. Fast. All right. And see something here. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I really need here. I got the death root. Let me give that to Gronk. Better not forget. Alright. So now, if you actually go back to where you first started, the Stranded Graveyard, you would have passed by the stone sword door before. And we didn't take it then, but I'm going to do it now. By the way, when you're running through swamps like Poison Swamp, don't roll, because it'll get on your clothing and then continue to poison you after you get out. I mean, there may be some cases where, yeah, you do want to roll if it's like very slow-moving sludge. So I'm going to wait for this to come up, and once it goes up, I'm going to trick it by jumping down here. It fools its thinking. And I can get a unique seal up here. It's good for arcane builds, especially those who, you know, want to use Dragon Communion incantations. There we go. Okay. Didn't think that was out there. Lower levels, if your health is not this, if your health and armor's not this good, this thing will usually one-shot you. Yep, I definitely came here much later than intended. And I'm not done yet here. This dungeon holds a lot of secrets. Ah, so close. Forgot about that. believe that talisman over there is the Erdtree's favorite talisman, and I already have the +1 version, and eventually I'll get the +2 version, so I don't need that over there. But instead, I'm going to drop down. And I guess drop down again. Oh, okay. Forgot there's a banished knight here. Alright, I forget really the timing on this. Didn't work. Okay, I probably have to hit the cord. There we go. No, okay, that did not work. There we go. Erdtree Great Bow. Don't really have a need for this, but I just thought, you know, be kind of cool to do. To show it, you know, what that is. Alright, at this point, let me... I can get some crystal tears. Now that these Erdtree avatars won't be much of an issue at all. Yeah. Yeah, this thing can really mess you up with Scarlet Rot. Like, not only does it build up Scarlet Rot status, but the cloud itself does lots of damage every instant you're there. Opaline Heart here is one of the better ones in the game. I should actually level up. There's a different way down here. I just want to do it this way. Flame Shroud and Cracked here. That will come in handy, probably. This is way overkill for this. Maybe not. I thought I was gonna do actually like one-shot damage. Okay. Okay, two more. Forget about that explosion. something deathroot. There's actually, if you send the elevator back up, which I should anyway in this case, it'll actually send up a second elevator that you can ride back down, and there's a pathway down there with some really tough enemies, but the reward is just some spirit ash I don't care about. No such gimmick with this elevator. Oh, wow. This, like Langdale Catacombs, this is another one of those tricky ones. Where it makes you think you're going in a loop, but there's slight differences. So instead, I'm going to take this, what looks like this elevator back up. As you can see, there's... Actually, now I think about it, it's more trouble than it's worth to go up this way. I don't remember what's up there, but I don't think it's anything good, like some, like, glove ward or something. So let me send this back up. And Whoa, when did that guy get there? I've never seen him before. Oh, he must have fallen. I've never seen, yeah, one of those exploding things on that platform. Nice. I think I'm gonna do the ruin-strewn precipice dungeon too, so I can do Patch's quest and then, you know, get some of that stuff out of the way. Because I do plan to be focusing on Volcano Manor for next stream. Still, will ya? For just like a few seconds. I'd like to buff up Bloodflame Blade again, but I don't think it's going to give me time for that. There. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Deathroot's here. I don't remember if I did it, if I defeated Tibia Mariner in here yet. I'll check. I know I haven't defeated the one in Mountaintops of the Giants. Nope, I have not. Alright. Time to do that. heard Elizabeth's voice yet. I thought at a certain point in the mountaintops of the giants she's supposed to talk. I really just did that because of the noise. Alright, ruin strewn precipice. This way. I don't know if I actually got the golden seat down there or not yet, but either way I'm maxed out on Flask. Already dead, I guess. Ah, okay, so I did not get this golden seed. Yeah, these guys are waiting in ambush. And of course, there's poison traps here, so gotta watch your step. I know there's a item here I can jump off and get, maybe, but I don't want to do it. Oh, got quite a few of these. So the boss of this area is Magmar Worm Makar, and I think you get a trophy for defeating him. Not sure. I'm not sure, but I think you do. Don't think I can summon anyone because... Oh yeah, I guess I can summon Tragoth, because Millicent's already advanced past here, and of course Blackguard is dead. But normally the summons you can summon Tragoth, Millicent, or Blackguard, and it actually lets you summon 2 out of the 3. So you can choose which one. weak point, so. And this elevator actually leads right up to Altus Plateau. So, if you didn't want to take the Grand Lymphodectus, this is another route. Although, I mean, the Grand Lymphodectus is much easier. So I don't know why you would do this except for the trophy. Now I'm doing it just to show off, and because there's a patches split quest here. So I need to unlock this area. And speaking of patches, let's go talk to him.
This? You're what? If you relax. Go on.
So yeah, Patches was assigned to kill Great Horn Tragoth, and instead he's passing that on to us. But it's worth doing this, just to get really good armor. I'm not the endurance to wear the armor. But I'll do the invasion. You know what? Speaking of invasions, let me reallocate my flask. Yeah, 12 and 2. So that way when it doesn't have to round down when it cuts mine in half for invasions. So instead of having 0, I'll have 6 of one, 1 of the other. He has a lot of poise, so you can't really combo him. And he helps out with Radon, this fight obviously, and the Draconic Tree Sentinel near Lanedale. So if you kill him, he obviously can't help you with those fights. But yeah, this is like the heaviest, like the best armor in the game, if you have the endurance for it.
Welcome to Patches in... You hunted down Tragoth? Are you certain? No, it's quite all right. I'll give Tanith and you. Have some rest, but... Are you surprised? I always hate... I thought I could not to men... I guess I'm up. Even after announcing her blasphemous... I've never seen a... Cheers.
Alright, he's not going to give us a reward until we rest.
Sharper. I was just holding on. There you go. Cheers for that.
I see you. Here is your usual. Now of the true, the Erd tree blessed, but it was all too meager. In the face of the tarnished were forced to scavenge, like the shard bearers, by our lord, indignant. If the Erd tree. And indeed, then we are willing to raise the banner of resistance. We at the Volcano Manor. If you follow this, the Lord's visit, it cannot come.
Tarnished.
That's Raya.
What is your business here? I'm afraid this is not a guest room. What's that peculiar look upon your face? Goodness, am I still a serpent? Oh, how dreadful. How dreadful indeed. Oh, forgive my distress. I ought to be thanking you for treating me as usual, despite this appearance. Brave Tarnished, this is my true form. My real name is Zarias. Please forgive the deception. Do understand. This duplicity is my own doing. Lady Tanith speaks no falsehoods. And the Volcano Manor is just as it seems. Lady Tanith, I am told I was born by the grace of a glorious king. That my mother cherishes this form I inhabit. I am proud of what I am, but people are cruel. If they saw my true form, they wouldn't speak to me. And so I assume a guise when seeking new recruits. But you are not like the rest. My serpentine form and were secrets, known only to Lady Tanith and I. Now I share the secrets with you as well. Please keep them safe from anyone else. My serpent were secret. Now I share.
Final request. And of course Dialos is looking upset.
It's you, is it? I'm terribly sorry. But would you mind giving me some time to myself? I haven't achieved anything at all thus far.
No surprise
Even though
there.
I've dirtied my hands time and time again, I'm still yet to achieve anything. Perhaps I am a fool after all. No, it's
Yep,
worse
you
than
are.
that. As things stand, I've given up on the path of revenge and sullied the name of my house. What an easy mark I must have been. How did it take me so long to realize, honestly? There's just no end to my foolishness, is there? Perhaps I am a... No. What an easy mark.
Look at you. A recusant through and through. I knew you had it in you. Take this. A special invitation to hunt some of the first Tarnished who sat at the Round Table Hold. If you should accept, I'll next see you on the field of battle. You're still alive,
Nothing I really want here.
Well,
Okay, so he's requested that we help him with some targets. I think Patches gives you a request after your first assassination, and then Bernal gives you his request after your second assassination. Pretty tough. There. Now I can help with this other one. Really? There. So yeah, now if you want that iconic armor from the game, here it is, the Raging Wolf set. Oh no, not Round Table Hold. Volcano Manor is where I want to go.
Praetor Rykard's ambitions, though blasphemous, that they were reduced to gluttonous depravity, whatever that somewhat despair. I have the reward. Take it. Let us tread till we reach.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it here for tonight. This was a good stream. Got a lot done. Look forward to continuing this next time, where the focus will be on Volcano Manor. All right. Thanks to everyone who showed up. I'm planning on the next stream being Monday, the 23rd of June. See you then.